What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for tuning in to what is going to be a haul from Ulta, specifically the drugstore side of things, because when I was looking in the What's New section the other day, always a dangerous activity. Sure enough, I found some new things. When don't you find new things? One day I will learn my lesson, but that day is not today. We got some new things to talk about, and some of them I'm honestly upfront gonna let you know I'm a little skeptical of. They seemed gimmicky when I saw them online, which is exactly why I wanted to try them. So I haven't tried any of these things. Let's do it for the first time together here, and let's go ahead and get started. Okay, first let's start with a brow item. I wish I hadn't done my brows today. I left my eyes blank because I have quite a few eye products that I want to kind of play around with here, but I totally spaced and did my brows already because I picked up the Maybelline Brow Extensions. This says it is a fiber dense pomade to give you the look of naturally thick brows. The thing about it is, though, when I looked at this online, it looks thick. Like it is and you can see from here, it is like a chunkier eyebrow pencil. It's not a thin little thing, which makes sense because you need the fibers and you need like something big enough to deliver those fibers. But when I think, I don't know, of filling my brows, oh, it's actually not that big. But it's still a little thick for getting over here, which is where I tend to need the extra volume and brow hairs around my tail and like up here area. So I'm a little unsure of how successful this will be in those more precise areas, but it is showing some promise for this area right here. Let's see. I guess I can see some fibers. This might be too light for me though. I picked up the shade medium brown, but this is coming off very light. The fibers are definitely coming off of my hand. Ooh, that's a hairy pencil. And you can even see it on the end of the pencil here, but I do fear that is going to be too light for my brows, which is strange because normally I am a medium brown when it comes to brow shades. So we will see on that. It's very waxy. They truly have packaged like a pomade in this pencil. So I'm actually excited to see how it functions. I just really do hope the one thing that sours it for me isn't the shade. Okay, now let's talk about some cream shadows. CoverGirl has launched some new cream shadows, so I picked up 2 of the shades that they have. Didn't seem like they had any super bright or vibrant shades. Most of them were neutrals, but they did have matte cream shadows, which can sometimes be hard to come by. The one thing though is that these are very small. I just did a video on Sydney Grace, who makes these massive cream shadows that aren't very expensive. They're probably comparable in price to these from CoverGirl, but you get, I mean, at least half, if not less, than those from Sydney Grace. But that's just an observation. The 2 shades that I got are Sorry Sweetie, which is a soft pink shimmery champagne, and Cocoa Nuts, which is a matte light taupe shade. So let's apply these first. These can be like a base for everything going on to my lids. I'm just gonna take Cocoa Nuts, apply that to the back of my hand, and then take a fluffy blending brush. This one's from Profusion. It's the Pointed Crease Eyeshadow Brush. It's just generally the shape that I like to work with when it comes to cream shadows because they do an equally good job at applying the cream to the base or like the lid, I find, as they do buffing it out throughout the crease. So in case you are new to the cream shadow game and not quite sure what kind of brush to use, you don't need this exact brush, but I just love a good fluffy crease brush. And this is actually coming off as a lot lighter on my skin tone than it looks in the tube or actually even on my hand. It's looking a lot less pigmented, but I guess that could be because I'm blending it out. These also have a real mousse-like texture to them, like they are on the thicker side for a cream shadow, so hopefully that means they dry relatively quickly, and when they do dry down, they don't crease or move around at all. So there you can kind of see how that is blending out. I now wish I would have gotten a deeper shade, which they definitely had in this collection, but I thought this was going to provide a little bit more of a contrast against my skin based on the pictures they had on the Ulta website, but that seems to not be the case in real life. Still has the potential to be a colorful or pigmented cream base though, and yeah, it's already dried down to a powder. I haven't been blending this for longer than like 30 seconds and it has already dried down to a powder finish. So far I am pretty impressed with the formula. I just wish I'd gotten a different shade. Now let's go into the Sorry Sweetie shade right here. I'm gonna put, again, another little dab of that on the back of my hand, and this is going to be my inner corner shade. Just taking a small detail brush, this one is from e.l.f., and patting that in my inner corner. It's a pretty shade, but it's not, I wouldn't say as like blinding or bright as I maybe expected it to be. It is blending nicely in with this other cream shade though. Sometimes when you blend, you know, a wet cream in with one that is already set and dry, you can get a little bit of a funky texture there, and that is not the case here at all. They're both blending really nicely in with each other. So those are the cream shadows, and before I forget, I ordered this and this blush from CoverGirl, very pigmented. This is the True Blend So Flushed High Pigmented Blush in the shade Hot Frenzy. I am pretty intimidated to use this actually. I got it because it looks so bold and pigmented on the website, and true to that picture, this is very bold. It's like a hot tangerine-y sort of orange red, and it does not let you down in the pigmentation department. So again, I shouldn't have applied blush today because I really want to try this out, but just first impression is that it's super soft. It's entirely matte, and yet it's not ultra dry. It didn't skip. It's not patchy. I think it's going to be really blendable on the cheeks, but I do think I will have to use a very light hand with it because it is so richly pigmented. The other thing I want to mention about buying CoverGirl from Ulta right now anyway is that they gave me a free makeup bag, and it's like a big makeup bag. When in your cart, when you go to check out and it says like there's a free gift included with your purchase, I didn't expect it to be this big. It's really pretty, nice and big, and it even has like an elastic wrist strap right here, which would be super nice for using less as a makeup bag and more of like a clutch when we start going places again. But back to the makeup, let's talk about some items that I was on the verge of not buying because they kind of look like a gimmick. These are from Maybelline. They are called Color Strike Cream to Powder Eyeshadow Pens. And the reason that these were almost on my no list, or just not in my shopping bag in general, is because we've seen this format before. Basically, it is a pen. It's like a spring-loaded pen, so it pops out like that because at the end, there is a sponge tip applicator, and then inside the base, there is a well of product that you push the pen inside and the felt tip picks it up. And it says it's a cream to powder product, but honestly, it looks pretty powdery on the pen. But I was curious because if it is in fact a cream, it should then in theory blend, like apply and blend without any fallout, which is awesome if it could solve a fallout problem. However, historically, when I have tried products like this, what really ends up happening is because the thing in this well is a powder, it just gets like caked up on this sponge. And eventually, after so many uses, and not that many honestly, it just becomes kind of caked in product and nasty and hard to use. So this is not something that I will be able to tell in this one video alone because it takes repeated use to kind of get that crust, for lack of a better word, on this applicator, but we will see. The two shades I got are this maroon that I keep waving around everywhere. This is in the shade called Tempt, and I got it because it looks like this beautifully rich burgundy shade. And then I also got the shade Hustle, which is an antique gold shade. But after looking at the swatch, it has kind of like a silver glittery quality to it. It's like the base is this antique gold, but then there's kind of some inconsistent silvery streaks in there from some silver sparkles that are kind of hanging out in there. Let's go ahead and give it a try. Let's go ahead and go in with the shade Tempt. So this I will put over on this side. I don't know if you can see that, but the pigment is kind of coming off as a little patchy. I'm gonna try blending it with my finger first. So it's a little bit coming off on my finger, but again, no fallout. There is zero fallout happening from this. This is also really blending out to be more of a purple and less of a maroon, I think. Just gonna dip this back in here to re-up that pigment. Oh, wow. So it's definitely layerable. Wow, wow, wow. Okay, so that is actually really pretty, and I'm super pleased that there has been no fallout there. I'm going to try blending this in with a brush on my other eye just to kind of see if you prefer working with brushes, because you know sometimes they can give you a little bit more control than your finger, how these stand up to a brush. This is a Real Techniques defining crease brush, just FYI. it's blending out a little bit more patchy with the brush, and that, I mean, the brush is picking up quite a bit more product than my finger did, so I kind of prefer working with my fingers on this one. Wow, for something I was prepared to hate, I kind of really love this. I really want to use the gold, but I don't know where this would be best put. Maybe on the inner corner? Let's try it. And again, I'm just going to use my finger to blend that out, especially in this inner corner area, but I do like how that came out. And now that I've been sitting with it for, you know, a couple minutes, blending things out, everything, the cream shadow, this new pigment over top, it is all, I mean, there's like a little bit of tint there. It's relatively transfer proof though. It really is like a cream that dried down to a powder. How do I love this so much? Okay, let's move on to some traditional pressed powder shadows that I don't even want to play with or apply anymore because I love this look so much. So we'll just do swatches of these. First is a quad from e.l.f. It has been a minute since I've gotten new eyeshadows from e.l.f. and so I wanted to see if their formula had changed. These are brand new and they had quite a few color selections to choose from, so I went with a green. This is called Hot Jalapeno and you get a gold that definitely has some green influence to it, a lime green, and then two matte greens. One is like a forest green and the other is more of an emerald green. And all of them swatch really well, especially the mattes, because like historically, especially I feel like when e.l.f. first came on the scene, their mattes were questionable, inconsistent, but you couldn't really complain because of the price point. At least I didn't feel like you could. But these are some pretty nice mattes, very pigmented, not chalky or clumpy at all. So I'm really excited to see how these actually perform on the eye, especially this particular color quad. I think I really chose right because this is still calling to me. Now the last eyeshadow palette I got is from Catrice. This is called Instabay, and it is one of the bigger eyeshadow palettes I've seen from them, but I could also just have not really kept up with the palettes they have. How gorgeous is this? And this I actually picked up because it looked very similar to the Natasha Denona bronze palette. So as the second I opened this up, once I got it out of the box, I realized it probably isn't that close to the bronze palette. I mean, yes, it definitely has this bronze shade down here, but overwhelmingly, a lot of the other shades lean cooler, whereas the bronze palette from Natasha Denona is very much in the warm red bronze territory. Here they are side by side as a comparison. I thought the Catrice might be like a more abbreviated version of the Natasha Denona, but they're relatively different. I'll swatch some of the similar shades side by side so you can really get a feel for it, but overall it doesn't seem like we are looking at a dupe here, folks, but I'll keep you updated. So those are all the new items I picked up from Ulta lately. I will definitely keep you posted about how all the things I haven't had a chance to use yet, or individual reviews. I don't know, let me know what you prefer down in the comments below, and I'd love to hear what you guys are picking up. Like, have you been doing some what's new section perusing and shopping? Let me know down in the comments below. Besides that, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye, guys.